welcome. It's May 15th. Welcome to the Big and Tall Movie Review Show. With me, as always, is Big Red.
Hello, how's it going, RC?
Doing good. Belated birthday wishes to you.
Feels good to be 22.
Yeah, I bet. So it looked like it's just me and you today. Maximus could not make it today, so we are going to review Iron Man 3, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Jon Favreau, Ben Kingsley, Don Cheadle,
Guy
Pearce is in it. It's part 3 of the, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man saga, so to speak. So let's go ahead and get this clip rolling. This is Iron Man 3.
I'm Tony Stark. I build neat stuff. I got a great girl. And occasionally save the world. So why can't I sleep?
You elected me on a single platform. I will defend this country at all costs. The Mandarin must be stopped.
You don't know who I am. You'll never see me coming.
What are you going to do about these attacks?
The whole world's gonna be watching.
The question, where is Tony Stark?
Things are different now. I have to protect the one thing that I can't live without. That's you. Mr. Stark.
Today is the first day of what's left of your life.
Oh, there you have it. Very intimidating. Ben Kingsley is the Mandarin. Big Red, what are you going to give me on this review of Iron Man 3?
Well, I actually thought this was better than part 2.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. I was a little worried seeing as Jon Favreau was not directing this one, but I thought Shane Black did a very good job. For those of you who don't know, Shane Black, the writer of Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah, well
Yes.
accomplished director, writer.
Writer, yes. So he stepped in and helped write this one, and I thought he did a great job. Again, the Robert Downey Jr., so good and perfectly cast.
Yeah. And it was I was kind of curious where they're going to go with it. It's always the first two kind of dealt with his early life faults of him being kind of the alcoholic playboy, super genius, rich, weapon developer.
I'm glad that the events from the Avengers weren't ignored in this. I thought that was
yeah,
good.
they did discuss that quite a little bit with issues that he was dealing with that. Very interesting. I thought this movie I thought the bad guys in it were pretty good, the way they set them up. I had a couple maybe questions about a few things. I guess I wouldn't say they were loopholes, but a couple items that happened. They're like, was this person here? It was a pretty entertaining film, and I thought it lived up to, these are hard to live up to, but without, with him in it and the acting in it, I thought it lived up to the hype.
I actually thought, for me, I kind of thought the villains were maybe one of the weaker parts of the movie.
Oh, really?
I mean, they weren't bad per se, but I don't know. I really more enjoyed the struggle that Tony Stark was having just with himself and what he was fighting, and I like the fact that they, for a lot of this movie, he was kind of stripped away from his toys per se, and kind of had to use his. You got to see him use his intellect a lot more in this, and I enjoyed that. I'm sure there'll be some people that he wasn't Iron Man, kind of like they did in the Dark Knight Rises,
Well,
not much Batman.
I thought he was Iron Man enough in it.
Yeah, but I'm sure there'll be some that'll be it wasn't enough.
I had some questions about the ability of some of the toys he had in the film as far as capabilities of the suits as compared to maybe part 2. I was kind of like, is this, I didn't realize that he now had control to do this, which I thought that would have been good to explain a little bit. But overall, I mean, I kind of disagree. I did like the bad guy role in it and I like the way they set him up. And I also I felt like they really, they obviously put a lot of strenuous pressure on him and his relationship with Pepper Potts. Yeah,
That's
Gwyneth
a nice tongue
Paltrow.
twister.
Yeah, Pepper Potts, and obviously giving Gwyneth Paltrow and her abs plenty of work.
Yes.
Visually in this movie. So, plenty of screen time. I also like the fact that they didn't, and we don't want to give anything away here to Big and Tall Movie Show, but they didn't focus so much on the Shield and stuff, and more just on the Iron Man.
This is basically a standalone movie.
Yeah.
If you're expecting the Samuel L. Jackson to pop up and all that, and they've been very upfront about that from the beginning. They have let people know this is pretty much a standalone movie. So, really, in that regard, you're not really spoiling anything because they have said that from the very beginning so that people wouldn't get their expectations up.
Yeah. And, look, obviously had a lot of great, special effects in it and everything. There was times at the end it gets pretty quick moving with everything happening left and right. But overall, I thought it was good. I thought Downey Jr. and Cheadle seemed to kind of they seem to blend a little better than they did in the second one after Terrence Howard was released.
Mind you, a little bit of a little Riggs and Murtaugh there with Shane Black writing the dialogue.
A little bit with the dialogue,
back
a
and forth.
little bit with the scene set up and the battle sequence at the end. That looked very familiar. I've seen that before, and
it's. Especially for a part 3, it was very solid. I mean,
I liked it. I agree. I liked it better than 2, and it seemed like the
2 had way too much stuff going on in it.
Yeah, it was just flying at you a lot.
You had your Iron Man story plus we got to set up the Avengers too.
Yeah, and it was a lot. It was a lot to take in.
Saying that, when I say the villains were the weakest, I thought Ben Kingsley was. His performance was very good in the movie.
Yeah.
And so were the other, I'll just say the other side villains.
Yeah.
I thought their performance were good too.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to get into the villain discussion.
Yeah, it was really, it's more of a.
Because there is a pretty good twist.
Yeah, there's a good twist to it, but it's a real logical twist that you could see in modern times in certain situations with villains and stuff. But no, I thought it was really entertaining film. It seemed like it went pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So a lot of the weaknesses of Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. as he continues to age, he almost looks a little bit like a young Bill Bixby or something. But yeah, it's good, and I really didn't have any complaints about it. I mean, it didn't blow me away. I wouldn't say it was like as impressive as maybe the first Iron Man as you saw him as Tony Stark, but it was a solid part 3,
One of the things I didn't catch, and when you bring up the first Iron Man, was when they're at the very beginning of the movie, we're at the conference.
Yeah.
One of the guys that he bumps into is the guy that helped him build the suit in the cave in the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but a little callback to the
real quick
first movie, which I totally missed it the first time I saw it.
Yeah, interesting. But I missed that as well.
Yes,
but it'll be interesting if they're going to make. I don't know if they're going to make a fourth one of these, or if they're just going to keep Downey under contract.
That's one of the things we're going to get into in our news segment. So
yeah,
we got a little news on that.
But for overall, I mean, most fans I think will enjoy this. I could, maybe some of the real diehard Marvel Comics fans might have a couple gripes on some things, but we don't want to, can't let anything
What
go.
did you think? Were you happy with Shane Black? Would you like to see him return if there is?
No, I don't have a problem with him directing in it. I thought it was nice they had Jon Favreau in it as much as they did.
I think Black writes really well for Downey because their other movie they did together, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, was
they're familiar with each other. Yeah,
Downey was very good in that too. So, would like to see them continuing to work together.
And obviously, in a movie like this, they got They got Iron Man toys and et cetera, so you're going to see multiple different suits and different character, different types of battle gear and different types of Iron Man gear suits. Walmart's got to make a buck, and everybody's
Disney's got to.
Yeah, they got to get. They got to keep their the flow in that way. If anything, I thought maybe that was a little bit of overkill. A little bit of an eye strain. You're kind of like, what what's
too
going
much going on. But
and I mean and some of the
I would say that most of these gripes are minor.
Real minor.
Little.
I'm just trying to break it down from when I saw it.
I mean, for the most part, you're going to be entertained with this.
Yeah, you are going to be entertained. It's solid, and the actors are really solid in it too.
Without Robert Downey Jr., he just carries it.
Yeah, he does.
He's so
he sells
perfectly.
It. His one-liners are killer. Everything,
so,
from his West,
yeah,
he's got them one right after another.
So, what would you give it on the cans?
I would, out of 6 cans on Iron Man 3, I would go with probably 4.5. Is what I'm going to give.
4.5 cans,
and I'm pretty
RC.
stickler with them. And I know a lot of times on this show, I haven't always seen the films. I'm kind of more the narrator or such, but I did see this one. I'd go with 4.5, leaning heavily to 5, but 4.5.
I'm going to go with a solid 4 cans on Iron Man 3.
That sounds good.
The biggest thing was there was no song and dance numbers like in Spider-Man 3, so that's already an improvement.
No Richard Pryor like in Superman 3. So
exactly.
it already's a winner there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go from this. So that's our take on Iron Man 3.
Well, we've got a little bit of time left. If you're heading out to the theaters and looking for a few other things, I'll give you a couple quick ones. The Tom Cruise movie Oblivion. It's a science fiction one. It's really has a mashup of, I would say, you'll find a little bit of Wall-E, a little bit of Moon, a little bit of Matrix, and a little bit of I Am Legend, kind of all crammed into this.
A lot of blender issues with that one.
But again, though, you have Tom Cruise and given a very good performance at the core of it. So I gave it 3 stars. I was entertained enough during it, and there are some nice twists and turns to the plot. Mm-hmm. The end game of it was a little weak, but for the most part, Oblivion, it was decent. I'd give it right in the middle. And I've also seen the Michael Bay movie Pain and Gain with Mark Wahlberg, The Rock, based on a true story from the 90s about some bodybuilders who decide they want the American dream and decide they're just going to take this millionaire who's a real jerk and basically torture him and steal his money. And when The Rock questions this plan, Wahlberg's reasoning is, don't worry, I've seen a lot of movies. I know how this works.
Yeah, Wahlberg is, I've noticed in some magazines, he's selling like a weight gain builder.
Yeah, him and Rock really bulked up for this. I mean, Rock even got bigger than what he normally is. And to me, this was a really breakout role for The Rock. His character goes through so much in this. And
well, that's good because a lot of his stuff seems pretty much cut and paste.
Yeah, this was a very different role for him, especially once he starts out kind of as a born again, and then he gets introduced to cocaine, and all bets are off. But I gave Pain and Gain. I would give it 4.5 stars. I was really entertained with it.
Really,
a very dark comedy considering some of the subject matter and things that happened. But the cast was all good, and Ed Harris shows up a little late into the movie and adds something to it. But
yeah,
I enjoyed Pain and Gain, so I'd probably go 4.5 cans on Pain and Gain.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. Got Iron Man 3, Pain and Gain, and Oblivion. Those are our reviews for the first segment of this episode. We will be right back with more on the Big and Tall Movie Review Show.